What I want to talk to you today is about something that at this time of the year is something that people are thinking about without even knowing that they're thinking about it. People are thinking about this concept of the cash flow quadrant. And if you don't have this book, Cash Flow Quadrant, go get it. It is a tremendous book by Robert Kiyosaki. He wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which kind of started this whole thing off. But the cash flow quadrant is something that is so intrinsic. It's everywhere in the world. And people think about it without knowing that they're actually thinking about it. They are, because if you're in the workforce, you are part of the cash flow quadrant. So if you're looking to make money, you are in the cash flow quadrant. And this book talks about the four quadrants. You can get this thing cheap. It's only $12 right now on Amazon, but look at that. You can get it used. Look at that, $2.46. I actually just picked up a copy of this last night, used, to have it sent to me because I want to give it to somebody. I picked it up for $3.16. So, including shipping. So yeah, go on eBay, go on, thrift books. There's lots of different places to get it. You don't have to pay full price for it. But even this is very affordable. If you want it instantly, get it on Kindle. That's what I have. Every time I read a book, I put it on my Kindle, so I always have it with me. All right, so the cash flow quadrant, it's talking about, if you're not familiar with this concept, we're talking about the four ways to produce income. And there are four ways to produce income, in our society, right? So the first one is you're an employee. So you have a job, you have a job. In that book, Robert Kiyosaki mentions, he calls it just over broke. I know many people have called it that. But as an employee, you have a job and you don't have leverage because what you're doing is you're trading your time for dollars. You're taking an hour and you're getting paid an hourly rate for it. If you work 10 hours, you get paid for 10 hours of work. If you work 40 hours, you get paid 40 hours of work. And when you're not working, you are no longer earning. Okay. So the amount of active work required determines your income in this exact scenario as an employee. All right. So time equals money. And that's what people say, right? You hear that constantly say, well, time is money. Yeah, time is money if you're an employee and if you have employee mentality. And it's one of the things that people have to try to overcome in this business is that we've been so ingrained to think, well, I'm going to go to school, I'm going to get a degree, I'm going to, get a good job, I'm going to work for 40 years for one company, and then I'm going to retire, and everything's going to be great. That's not always the case. Can it happen? Yeah. Does it happen? Yes. But there are things that you can do to really make it happen. So in our business, what we do is we talk to people who are employees and we say, hey, did you know that you can have a part-time business, like Jim Rohn says, side by side with your regular profession and part-time be able to earn an income, a plan B, because plan A is your regular job, but plan B could be this, and then help you to turn your plan B into a plan A when it starts to outpace what you're doing at your regular career. Got it? The average millionaire, if you go look it up, the average millionaire in America today has 7 different forms of income. They don't have 7 jobs. I can tell you that. Don't. So the second quadrant is the self-employed quadrant. And this is where, like, you own a job. So in my career, my early career, I started working in regular jobs and, worked in the retail sector, in the sales sector, then started working in the recruiting sector, working for a company where I was helping people get jobs. And so once I learned that trade and realized, oh my gosh, I could go start my own business. And I thought I was starting my own business. I would say to people, I had my own business in the recruiting space. But the thing is, it was just me. I was self-employed. I had my own company name and I was working from home. And everything was mine. And I determined what I was going to do on a daily basis. But I did not, even though I said I had my own business, I didn't because I was self-employed. I was the only person at the company at that time, and I was trading my time for dollars, but I was self-employed where I owned my own job instead of working for someone else. So I was just paying myself for my hours. I was still trading time for dollars, but I was paying myself instead of having a boss pay me. And it allowed me to pay myself more than what I could make from working for someone else. And a lot of people, move into that self-employed category. Now, here's the thing. When you own your own job, your own job, I'll tell you, there's no leverage there at all. You're like 95% of the population. That's where you are. You're 95% of the population that has no leverage at all. And leverage is something where you can earn beyond your own limitations of time and effort, right? So what we're talking about is this is the left side of the quadrant. These two, the E and the S, the employee and the self-employed is the left side of the quadrant. That's what we call linear income, trading time for dollars. Okay, there's only so many hours in a week. Like if you're making $10, an hour, there's only 24 hours in a day. So if you didn't go to sleep and didn't eat and didn't take a break and you worked 24 hours and you were making $20 an hour, you could make $480 a day. And that's all you can make. And in a week, you could make 480 times 7. And that's if you never slept or never did anything other than work, which is impossible. So you're limited with the amount of time that you have. Now, the right side of the quadrant is, I think, very exciting. And this is why I got involved in network marketing in the first place, was to become a business owner. And that's the B part of this side of the quadrant here, the side of the chart, I should say, is that you own a system. So you're a business owner that owns a system. And when I got into network marketing for the first time, it was the first time, even though I'd been self-employed before, it was the first time that I was actually a business owner, where I actually took advantage of a system that could actually pay me by having other people come aboard and leveraging the efforts of other people to then have the effort and time that I put in to help those people succeed, to help them get trained, it continues to pay you over time. And this is leverage, where 95% of the wealth in our country comes from leverage. It comes from business owners and investors, which we'll talk about in a second. But this is income that does not depend on your active work. So when you came into Think Energy, I'm going to give an example. You're a brand new advisor. You come aboard. You know how our compensation plan works. You sponsor a new advisor. Like when you go out and get your own customers, you're trading your time for dollars, right? That's what you're doing. Now you're creating a little bit of residual income, which is nice. So every customer that you have puts you on a residual path. That's great. But the only way to really leverage that and get it to the point where it's bigger is to go out and get your own, if you want to become a senior partner, go get 50,000 customers yourself. Okay, now you could do that. But I would say that, I would say 99.999% of people cannot get 50,000 customers. They just don't have it in them. They don't know that many people, and they will most people could never get there, even if they just did it full time. They're just not going to. But can you reach out to someone and show them how they can have their own business? And now you're a brand new advisor who just joined. You go and sponsor someone. You took the time to educate them. You took the time to get them plugged into our system. And then the system did the work and helped them to go out and bring in a customer. And all of a sudden, bing, you get a text. Bing, you just made some money because they brought in a customer and you got the mentor bonus. Now you actually have a business that when you sponsor your first person, you now are a business owner. You are a legitimate business owner. You did it. You invested $59 to start your own business. You brought someone aboard, and now you have leverage. You have more than just you working to go and do this and accomplish the goal. So now you actually have a real business in your hands. And that's when I started realizing the first time I ever got involved in this industry and I made money from someone else, not me, going and getting a customer because I helped bring them aboard and help train them. Are you kidding me? That was the most profound moment ever. Like I was like, wow, I just made, $20. I just made $30. See, I realized that if I can make $20 by, $10, whatever it is, if I can make 10 or $20 by helping one person go and get a customer, and I just keep doing that, you realize I realized at that point I could make $1 million doing this. Then I started realizing I could probably make $1 million a year doing this. Then I started thinking, there's a possibility here that if I keep working hard, I could make $1 million a month doing this. And we're going to have people that do that in this business. You see our trajectory where we're headed. And then the final stage is the investor side. This is where you take money that you already have and you put it into investments so that you can have that money go to work for you. So your money duplicates what you earn. You're duplicating your money by putting money to work for you. And so the general pathway that people have is most people become an employee. Some of them move over to the right side of the quadrant. Some people become self-employed, and some of them move over to the right side of the quadrants here and become a business owner and eventually an investor. And that's where you want to be. This is what the tax system is set up for in America. This is where you get tax breaks for being the creator, for being a business owner, for going out and investing your hard-earned money to go and do something else with it and duplicate it. That's where everyone wants to be. And I wasn't a big investor. I didn't have a lot to invest when I was on the E side and the S side, when I was on the linear income side. But once I got into the business owner side of things and realized I could make more money, like I started making more money in my B business than what I needed to survive on. And that's what started this. That's what really got me excited about this was like, wow, I have extra money at the end of the month because my regular linear income was like, I'd run out of I'd run out of money before I ran out of a month or even the week. I'd look at it on a weekly basis sometimes when I was an employee getting paid weekly. Man, the money ran out on Wednesday. I still had Thursday and Friday to go. Can I stretch it until Friday to get that money? As everything was revolved around payday. And now by going out and helping other people, we're able to enjoy life a little bit more. We have our time back. We have our freedom of what we want to do. We are able to invest in things. We're able to help out family members. If you asked me when I was an employee, if my family needed something, I didn't have any money to help them out. Now, if one of my family members is in a pinch, I don't loan them money so they can give it back to me. I just say, here, you can have it. I'm not in the business of loaning family members money anymore. I used to be as an employee because I needed it back for myself. And so that's what, giving yourself options and having that leveraged and residual income by working through this cash flow quadrant. And why this is so exciting right now, this time of year, you guys realize that every single person that's working, they're this E category or this S category, and some of them are in a business where they're having a tough time. A lot of these E's, S's, and some B's right now, they are starting to think the holidays are coming up. I don't know how much money I'm going to have to make it through the holidays. I don't know what is next year going to look like. People start to examine what they're doing with their lives and how to make next year better than this year. That's what's happening right now. And this is why the cash flow quadrant at this time of the year is a great thing to learn. Go read the book, go understand these quadrants, and you can have discussions with people. I recruit people using the cash flow quadrants. I learned this a long time ago. If you start talking to people about being an employee and having a business of being an E or an S and showing them a way that they can also be a B, they can have a B while they're an E and an S, and they can do it at a very low cost and they don't have to sell anything. And they're helping people in the process. They're not asking for people for money. They're not changing people's buying habits. You guys, we have one of the most powerful things. I believe that every person there's very, very rarely do I meet an employee or a self-employed person that would not want to have a separate source of income from this B quadrant if they could. Everybody wants it. And some of them are willing to get off their, get off the, get step out of their comfort zone, get all out of the rut and actually go do something about it. And that's why it's so exciting to talk about this. I love to talk about the cash flow quadrant around the holidays. And I make it a point every year to buy the cash flow quadrant for people I know who are not on the B and I side of the quadrants here. And I give them the book. I don't even contact them about the business to start out. Just like, I want you to read this book. It made a difference in my life. The contents of this book changed the direction of my life when I saw this. And I've helped other people to do the same thing. And I want to gift this to you so that you can understand what you have your hands on. See, and after you give that book to someone, send them a used copy of a book. That's what I do. I like to send used copies of books because it's less expensive and it's good for the environment. It's not a wasted resource. It's like, hey, the book's already there and somebody wants to sell it. Great, move it to the next person. So that's what I do with people. I say, I'm going to send you a copy of this book. And I do this with a lot of different books, but at this time of the year, I love the cash flow quadrant for people at this time of the year. And let me tell you what, you send that book to someone. I mean, think about this. When was the last time someone called you up and sent you a book? I can't remember. I don't think it's ever happened to me personally. So now you're creating a new experience for someone. They've never experienced that before. When they read the book, whether they read it or when they get the book, whether they read it or not, they know that you did something for them, that you're looking to help them to improve their lives. And when you then reach out to them about, hey, this is what I'm doing, not sure if it's for you, but I'd love to have you take a look at it because we're crushing it. And this could make this phone call could be a potential life-changing phone call for you. See, not a life-changing phone call for me, a life-changing phone call for them. So you guys, I just wanted to emphasize that because it's such a big deal.